Oh my God, right. I've been meaning to do this video series for a long, long time. Okay, so kind of like you all know how it is. Like life gets in the way sometimes. I'm a busy mom of two children, and so sometimes things just get in the way. Okay, life just got busy and exciting. So here we are. So video one, I really wanted to introduce myself for my team, who I refer to as Cosmic HQ. They consist of many, many different beings, angels, aspects of myself, all kinds of different entities that you could imagine. Okay, and they asked me to put together a video series to help you um, connect with your starseed origins, your soul origins, your mission, why you're really here, what's your purpose. And the first video they wanted me to do is this one. So the introduction to who I am as a being, as a soul, someone who's here, what my mission is. And so I want to introduce myself. So as a human, my name's Lou. I am a mom of two children, absolutely beautiful, advanced beings who keep me on my toes. Oh my God, I cannot explain to you how owned I am by these children. I think being a mom was a really big challenge for me, and I'll talk to you about that maybe in another series. But for today, I just want to talk about my mission and why I'm here, why I was brought here. So I don't know if you've read anything about me or seen anything about me before, but my story of how I came to Earth is that I was tricked. So I was on a ship and I was told that we were leaving this planet in order to escape the war. There were a lot of beings that we left on the planet at the time. The war was breaking out. It was a bit crazy, mayhem everywhere. I was a commander on a ship, and we were told that we had to leave on that ship, but we were coming back for those beings. One of the people that was on the planet that I left was someone that I was married to, someone that I've been married to over many, many, many lifetimes. And so, um, anyway, the story fast forward a bit is I was actually tricked. I wasn't told the truth. We weren't going back to get those beings on that planet. We were actually escaping the planet from war, and that planet was absolutely destroyed. It was blown up. There was nothing left to it. The beings perished. There was nothing there. And so for many, many, many lifetimes, I had to deal with this grief of this loss, this loss of being lied to, being deceived by people who I trusted, but also this loss of losing this person that I was married to. It took many, many, many lifetimes of work, as you could probably imagine. And so the reason why I'm here on Earth is because of that incident. So I was told we were leaving that planet in order to escape war, but we were actually leaving that planet to come to Earth to help in this really, really big mission here. And this really, really big mission here, so humans tend to call it awakening or enlightenment. And myself and my team don't really like either of those words, because those words suggest some kind of superiority with the process, or they suggest that there's going to be an end date with this spiritual journey. And I don't know if this is going to be a kicker to you or this is going to be empowering to you, but there really is no end to this journey. And when I found out that, really as a human, I was like thankful in a way, because I wasn't really in a rush to get to the end, because there is no end. Or if you are on the other side of the coin, you might find that a little bit disheartening. You might feel like, oh no, holy shit, I thought it was coming to an end. I thought this and this is going to happen, but no. So we don't tend to use the words awakening and enlightenment in the work that we do, just because we don't resonate with them. They suggest that you get to an end point, or the work finishes, or you become completely healed and everything. But there are always more lessons to learn. There is always karma to repay. There is always more ways of expanding rather. There's always more like aspects of yourself to integrate. So humans call these things personalities, but really from a soul point of view, personality doesn't really exist. Personality is usually something that you've been told that you are, or you've gathered this opinion of you of what you are. So, oh, I am this, I am this, I am told I am that. Personality is usually something that someone has given to you, which may not always be the truth, right? So, a lot of the work that we do here is all about unraveling those layers. It's almost like peeling an onion, getting those layers off and getting to the center, to the core of who you really are and what your mission really is here. And our mission, so they want me to backtrack a bit now. And I've been on this journey, I would say consciously in this lifetime, about 10 years. That was kind of like the pivotal point for me, was leaving my corporate career. And that was about 10 years ago now. Next year, I believe, will be the 10th year. But, yeah, in about March will be my 10th year. And so I worked in this very, very corporate environment. I was a tax advisor, worked for some of the biggest banks and investment bankers, and really, really high profile cases in a lot of cases. And first of all, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the challenge. I enjoyed the environment. But then as you kind of progress through the ranks, I don't know if you listen to this and you're from corporate as well, but I decided that it really wasn't me. I got to a stage in my career where I just thought, oh my God, this doesn't feel like me anymore. I was in that place where I was turning up to work and I was pretending to be someone I wasn't, just to kind of get on with the job, just to close myself off. Because I think when you are in that kind of environment, it's quite cutthroat. You don't really truly have many friends. You have colleagues and you have people that you can like talk to from a work perspective. But really and truly, when the shit hits the fan, is there anyone there to back you up? And I came up across this quite a few times in corporate. Right, I might share some of those stories in a moment, but I when it got to the nuts of it, I didn't feel like it was me. I got to a stage in my corporate career where I just thought, I'm going to either have to beat them or join them. And I really, really didn't want to get to that level of income and that level of responsibility where I felt stuck in that position. And I was kind of like middle management. I was kind of like at that point where I had a really comfortable life and things, money wasn't really an issue. Um, but any further above that, you kind of like you get stuck in that lifestyle, right? You get stuck thinking, oh my God, this is a good job. I should be grateful for this, but really and truly it's not fulfilling me whatsoever. So I really had to ask myself in that moment, what am I going to do? And I left that job anyway. I left that job and I actually started my own tax practice. So I went from tax for a big company, and then I set up my own tax practice and did really, really well. We got some amazing clients. I was doing pretty much the same work that I was doing at Deloitte, but on my own. So obviously, the money that I was receiving for that was amazing, for what, compared to what I was being paid salary. It was, 5 times what I was receiving salary. So I was very, very, very happy from a monetary level. But then I still just really didn't connect to the lifestyle, traveling into London, meeting clients, having to be on call like all the time. Most people don't really respect weekends when you work for yourself. And then if you work for yourself, you'll resonate with that. But most people don't respect your kind of personal and private space. And so there was lots of things that I wanted to escape from when I set up that business. And eventually I kind of got into a relationship and I became pregnant quite quickly. And so my Evie, my eldest daughter, she's 8 now, she came along really, really super quickly. I assumed that it was going to take ages because you read stories and you're told and you believe that it's going to take a while to conceive, and it just didn't. And I knew within a week of conceiving her that I was pregnant. I just knew. And the night before that I found out that I actually was pregnant, with a confirmation test, I had a dream where my ex-partner, their dad, um mom visited me in this dream, and she said that you're going to have a little daughter called Evie, and it's going to be called Evie Elizabeth, and that was her name, Elizabeth. And so I knew that I was going to have a daughter all through my pregnancy. I knew I was going to call it Evie Elizabeth. And I just started getting this really beautiful connection with spirit. I've always been more spiritual than I have been religious. So I went to Catholic schools all my life just because they were kind of like the best schools in the area. But I was never really religious. I would learn about RE, religious education, we called it then. But I wasn't religious. I didn't resonate with the stories of the Bible. I didn't resonate with the teachings that we were told. I was more pulled to things and entities like angels and dragons and fairies and mermaids and all that kind of beautiful spiritual way of describing this beautiful world that most people don't tap into. And it was really when I had Evie that my whole world was broken apart. It was pulled apart in so many ways, not because of her. It was because of the trauma that I'd been through as a child. And when I had her, everything was cracked open. I was so poorly. I mean, I had anxiety, I had depression, I had postnatal depression, I had psychosis at one stage as well, which was absolutely terrifying. And I lived with that silently for about a year. I did not know what it was. I just thought, oh my God, I just can't connect with my child. What is wrong with me? There's something wrong with me, seriously wrong. But I kept it to myself, as you do, because you think, oh my God, if I tell anybody, people are going to think bad of me. They're going to judge me. They might even take away my daughter. My partner at the time wasn't really very supportive of me working for myself. He would constantly tell me, oh, you need to go out and get a real job and da 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 da, and he expected me to stay at home, look after the child, do all the housework, do all the cleaning, the tidying, everything, the washing, and still bring home a full-time income as well, which is really, really funny now because I can do all those things and we're not together, right? But when you're just starting out on this journey, that's really, really difficult. When you're a new mom, that's really, really difficult to navigate all these things at the same time. So if you are a parent, a mom listening to this, I just want to say, like, just be kind to yourself, okay? Because I remember the worst type of negative talk didn't come from people who looked down on me or judged me in any way. It came from me. Like, I remember having to physically write down my negative self-talk so that then I could cancel it out with positive self-talk. And that's one of the things that I talk about in my book, of how to cancel out those negative self-talk that you give yourself, that it's really quite damaging to your own soul. And so I really wanted to explain like where I came from. And so from that point, from having Evie up until now, my life has drastically changed. I went on this like massive uh deepening sense of spiritual growth, expansion, journey. I ripped open wounds from my childhood. I ripped open wounds from relationships. I did so much work in the last 8 years. It's been like pretty crazy, really, and mainly on my own. So along the way, I've used a few mentors and I've used a few healers there and there, but I got to a stage in my journey about 5 years ago where I was really working with somebody who's very successful, amazing at what she does, earns a lot of money, but yet she was tapped into this demonic realm. She had a demonic attachment. I received that attachment because I was working with her, as did many of her community as well at the time. And so I became very, very aware back then, about 5 years ago, about energy and the importance of clearing your energy and the importance of looking after your own body, not just from like a physical point of view. Because don't get me wrong, if I fancy a drink, or if I fancy a burger, or if I fancy something like a cake, something that I know is inherently not good for me, I will still have all those things. I'm not saying my body is a temple and I'm gonna eat fruit and vegetables all the time, because most of the time for most people that's not realistic. I'm a realist, okay? And so I am all about being real, being raw, being open, being honest, being vulnerable, but also learning some really, really amazing life changing tools, which are really very simple to implement into your life, which have absolutely transformed my life. But not only that, they've saved my life. I can't imagine where I would have been now had it not have been for the love, the guidance, and the support of the angels and the guides and the ancestors that have guided me through this whole pathway to be here, making this podcast and speaking to you in the way that I can. And my guides are absolutely amazing, and they channel probably 95% of what I say, what comes through me comes through them. It's from the divine, it's directly from source. And so I remember quite a long time ago I had this client call, and he was like, oh my god, you're like a cosmic surgeon. And that kind of stuck, and I just saw that's such a beautiful way of explaining what I do. I allow these beings to work through me. I am trained in Reiki. I qualified under Marissa Peer for a particular type of hypnotherapy. So I've got these gifts and these skills that I had learned in the past, but a lot of the gifts and the skills that I use today in my work are literally just allowing these amazing, advanced, beautiful cosmic beings to work through me. So hence the name, the cosmic surgeon, just kind of stuck. So if you see that name out there, it's not something that I've given myself. I'm not keen on labels and names and all the things. So that's something that someone gave me. And so I really wanted to explain a little bit about how I got to be where I am. And that's my story in a real nutshell. There are so many more layers to it. There are so many more stories that I could share. But like anyone's life story, it would take a lot of time. So I like to keep these things short and brief. And so I'd really like to learn more about you. I created this podcast to share my story and to help you. And also I'll be bringing some special guests in as well. So I recorded today with Lauren this most amazing session about she's a baby soul communicator, and I'll talk about more about that in the session with her when I release that. But it was just absolutely fascinating. I love hearing and speaking to all these amazing beings that are doing such beautiful work in the earth. And if you are drawn to my energy, if you're drawn to my the gifts that I have, it's usually because there is something inside of you that needs to develop and grow and bring forward your own gifts. Okay, so if you're not quite there yet, if you're not like, oh, I don't know what my gifts, my skills are, then this is the right place to be. We will start exploring those things together. I have the most amazing community as well on Facebook. If you're not a part of that, I'm going to be starting to share these podcasts in there, and also setting some activities, some tasks as well. I'm going to be directing you to some resources which we release. We did the most amazing live series, The Great Remembering, a couple of months ago now, and it was just incredible to see everyone getting involved. So I really want to start directing you to those kind of resources as well, because these tools that I share with you, I'm not just sharing with you because, oh, it looks good or it sounds good. They're really, really life-changing. And the reason why I was brought here, first phase of my mission here is to activate and attune 7 million star seeds. So that means attuning to you, to your gifts and your mission and your purpose, And so that isn't just going to be me. That would keep me really, really busy, wouldn't it, if I had 7 million people to speak to? But the reason why they give me such a big number is because it's going to be like creating a network of people. Okay. So me speaking to you, and then you having your gift and speaking to other people, that is how that 7 million figure is going to be achieved. It's not going to be just through me. I appreciate that I am multidimensional, but I'm also a realist. I cannot and do not want to do that level of service. And the other thing, there was a message that came through today, and they just reminded me about it. They want me to share it. Is that when we think of our mission, right? And a lot of us have really, really big missions in this lifetime. And if you listen to this, you most likely 100% have the same big mission, right? You might not have uncovered what it is yet, and that's okay. You might not know exactly everything you need to do, and that's okay. I also do not know the full extent of my mission, okay? But we know it's big. We know we were brought here for a reason. We know we're here to create the new earth, right? And yet, you have from now until the end of eternity to complete your mission. Okay. So I tell you that, and I talked about that today when I recorded our session with Lauren, because you haven't got to be in a rush with any of this stuff. You haven't got to be in a rush to get the clients in. You haven't got to be in a rush to understand fully what all your gifts are. Yeah, we all kind of are on our own individual journeys. And as long as you can work with your blinkers on and work on your own lane and work on your own healing and work on your own messaging and work on your own things, everything will be brought to you. Okay, the reason why sometimes we stall or we create patterns that we don't want to get, we can't get out of, is that sometimes we create too much resistance. And one of those parts of resistance is comparing ourselves to other people. No, it's such confidence killer. It creates resistance. And when we create resistance, we push that thing away that we really, really want. Okay, so I really want you, I'd urge you right now to just focus on your own lane, on your own mission, whatever that looks like to you, whatever that looks like to you. And I really want you to just start asking questions. So one of the questions I set my group and any of my VIP clients I work with, it's just one question every day. Okay. Would you do this? Yeah. Would you? Okay. So one question. So you have to be in a grounded state. Okay. So either reach out to us and ask us for a rapid energy clearing process and do one of your own processes. But get into that stage where you're just feeling like, oh, this feels relaxing. I'm at peace. For me, that state is pretty easy to get into now. It hasn't always been, but that state is kind of like more often than not. And so when you're in that state, we need to ask for one question: what is it I must do today? And just wait for a reply. Yeah, wait for a reply and just take that one step. And that is all you have to do here, over and over again, just that one step. So I would really love to hear from you now. So I've recorded this as a video and as an audio as well. So you'll probably see the video in our Facebook group. You might you might listen to the audio and podcast. However it appears to you, it's absolutely perfect. Okay. I would love for you to come into the group if you're not already and join us and just introduce yourself. One of my kind of like side missions, if you like, is becoming more visible and helping other beings become more visible by just showing up as I am. And that sounds quite easy on the face of it, yeah, but we know this human experience, we can be thrown tests, we can have layers, we can have doubts, negative beliefs to work through. So just turning up as you are is actually quite a scary thought for a lot of people. So as always, I'm laughing now because they're laughing at me. So as always, often I have to go first. So I have to be the one that goes through these things. And then I lovingly bring people along with me. So I would absolutely love it if you joined us in the Facebook group. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the podcast to join us in the Facebook group. It's called the Cosmic Portal. We do have like an application process. It's nothing strict. We just have 3 questions to ask you before we let you in. And the reason why we do that is because we don't want bots. We don't want people who are going to spam. We want genuine people who are looking to raise awareness or looking to build businesses in the spiritual niche, or ideally those who have successful businesses in the spiritual niche as well. So I'd love for you to join us there. So I am going to send you love, light, and miracles as I always do. Okay. And I'm going to be in that group and I'm going to be waiting for you to come join us. Okay. And then when you're in that group, I want you to introduce yourself. Okay. I want you to think about your own story. I want you to think about how you started up. I want you to think about where you are now, because the more that you can share your story is the more that you'll start attracting your own tribe. Okay, so there's a little bit of a challenge in there for you, and I would love to see you in there. So mwah, thank you for listening or watching, and I'll speak to you on the next one.